want to apologize to my teammates, my club, Gemka, the fans, and the city of ECAT. I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling that it doesn't end my life here.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about WNBA basketball player Brittney Griner being sentenced to 9 years in a Russian prison due to trying to smuggle less than 1 gram of cannabis oil in her vape cartridges at the airport in Russia. Now, this story is very interesting for a variety of reasons. It brings up a lot of arguments. They're talking about the gender wage gap, capitalism, LGBT, race, a little bit of everything. But before we get into all that, let's just back up a little bit here and explain what's going on, just so we're on the same page with each other and so you have full context. Now, Brittney Griner, as I said, plays in the WNBA. That's the Women's National Basketball Association. And they don't make much money over here in the States. I'm going to come back to that, but they don't make much money. I saw a graphic that said the total salary for all WNBA players is like $12 million. I'm not sure if that's the exact number, but LeBron James makes like $30+ million in a year. And it's like, well, why does he make that much money? And why do they make so little money in comparison? I'm going to get back to that. I promise. Let me just bookmark that for now. So because she does not make much money in the WNBA, she goes to Russia to play basketball there because a lot of times, probably all the time, girls will make more money overseas because if you are an American and you have a name over there, you're kind of more popular overseas than you are in America, if that makes any sense. So she probably was going to play basketball in Russia and wanted to bring a little something for the trip. So she had some vape cartridges and there was some cannabis oil. I think there was cannabis oil and also like just regular weed. But I think the cannabis oil is what they're getting her on. So they're getting her for trafficking drugs. She had the oil and the cartridges at the airport. And I mean, you're at the airport doing something like that, that's going to be all bad. I think I just saw Iman Shumpert, an NBA basketball player, get arrested right here in the US of A on weed. Now, I presume he had a lot much more weed than Brittney Griner, but it doesn't matter. It's still not legal to just bring weed in the airport in the USA or over in Russia. That's just their laws. But I digress. So she's been in custody for quite a while. I think the majority of this year she's been over in Russia in custody. And there's not been much said from the federales, from Joe Biden or anybody like that. Although there's been kind of a stink made from the LGBT community because obviously she's LGBT. She's married to a woman. And the WNBA, quite frankly, is an LGBT league. I'm not saying everybody in the WNBA is LGBT, but I'm gonna say the majority. I'm gonna go out there and say the majority. It's a culture of that. Okay, kind of a lot of more masculine women that play basketball. I saw one woman. I don't want to say her name because I don't want to get the name wrong, but I think I know who it was. I saw her kiss another girl on the basketball court, like not even in a way to where it's like you're a foreign soldier. It's not even like that, not really in a romantic way. It was kind of like that a boy and then get smooch on the stuff like that. That's the WNBA for you. So that community were trying to really bolster her up. They kept talking about, oh, her wife this, her wife that, wife, to let you know that she's LGBT, to try and get sympathy from that particular group, to try and get some leverage from that group to make it go toward Joe Biden to get some attention, but it didn't get much attention up until recently. Now, they're talking about a prisoner swap for Brittney Griner and a man by the name of Paul Whelan. Paul Whelan got locked up in Russia, I think in 2019, and he was accused of spying, and he got 16 years in their penitentiary. Now, Paul Whelan, I'm not really sure he's a good guy. Paul Whelan had a bad conduct discharge from the U.S. Marine Corps. So now we want to get him out of Russian prison. Did he actually spy? Like, what was going on? He's listed as a quote unquote security director. So what was he doing in Russia? Did he actually do what he's being accused of doing? I'm not really sure, but I digress. So they want to package Paul Whelan and Brittney Griner, a basketball player, for this guy by the name of Victor Bout. And if I'm saying his name wrong, y'all please pardon me. But Victor Bout is a Russian arms dealer who was on the run for 10 years. There was a manhunt for 10 years for this guy. And you could consider him to be a terrorist. Like, this guy's involved in third world conflicts, selling no weapons. This is not a good guy at all that we have in custody over here in the USA. He actually belongs in the penitentiary. And I think part of the reason why Brittney Griner got so much time, the whole 9 years versus, I don't know, less time. I think the maximum time was 10, 9.5 or 10, but she got 9. She pled guilty, admitted to what she did was wrong, said it was a mistake, X, Y, and Z, but she got 9 years. I think the reason why they gave her so much time is because she broke the law, first of all, but second of all, they know that the U.S. is desperate to get her out, and they're willing to trade a terrorist for her, so they're going to give her the maximum amount of time to possibly incentivize the deal for them to get back their terrorist Victor Bout and to make the U.S. look bad in the process. That's what it looks like to me. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm not really sure. You see, when Trump was getting guys out of jail, I think it was one basketball player. It was LiAngelo Ball when he was playing for UCLA, and he went and shoplifted in China. There wasn't any kind of prisoner exchange that I heard of. Same thing with A$AP Rocky when he went to Sweden and got in a fight and went to their jail over there. He got him out. I did not hear about any kind of prisoner swap. There was an article that alleged Trump was going to engage in a trade war with Sweden if they didn't let A$AP Rocky out. I'm not sure how true or false that is, but there was no prisoner exchange. Now we're talking about handing over a terrorist for a basketball player. I think this is an effort from the Democratic Party to garner more votes from the LGBTs, because remember, she's LGBT, married to a woman, maybe a little bit to the black community, but not necessarily. I'll say this right now about the black community and the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, from my point of view, don't do things for the black quote unquote community. They do things for the black community that others will see. So it's not really for them. It's for them, but it's not for them. Meaning, like, let's say, for example, if this whole thing with Brittney Griner is being done to please the black community, it's only so other people on the outside of the black community, quote unquote, can see it. It's for your white liberals and your LGBTs. Oh, look what they did for the black community. That's so nice. I'll vote for them. They don't need to do anything to get the black vote. They get that regardless. Just like Joe Biden said, look, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. If you don't vote Joe Biden, you ain't black. That's what he said. So they don't do anything to get the black vote. They do things, quote unquote, for the black community because others will pay attention. That's just what it is. Now, let me get back to my bookmark at the very beginning. This whole thing about the wage gap. The WNBA does not make money, really. And women don't really support it. The majority of WNBA fans, I'm going to say between, 70, 80%, maybe about 65%, as low as 65%, but as high as 80% of WNBA fans are men. Women don't really watch sports like that. Some women watch sports, but for the most part, they don't. So women are not supporting the WNBA. Most of the WNBA, they're LGBT. They're not normie women anyway. So it's like, what are we doing? And then if you ever watch a WNBA basketball game, it's not super exciting. You're not going to see no 360 dunks and crazy half-court shots like Steph Curry. You're not going to see no high-stakes playoff game. What you're going to see is a slow break layup contest. They're missing layups. If there's a dunk like Brittney Griner 6'8", she can dunk, but barely. I'm talking about barely. It's like me getting up there dunking right now, almost 40 years old. I'm 6'3". I can dunk a little bit, but I'm not 6'8". If I was 6'8", even at my age and even not being an NBA basketball player, I could still get up there and throw it down because you're 6'8". But women don't really have that ability to play like the men. It's not exciting. It's not going to bring butts in the seats. So they don't make that much money. It's not about the gender pay gap. It's about you guys are not bringing butts in the seats. I don't want to see no WNBA basketball game. I'm not saying women are not good at sports at all. I'll watch gymnastics all day, women's track and field, tennis, maybe even women's golf. Okay, what else? Yeah, like those are the figure skating. I watch it all day long. They can look feminine and be skilled at the same time. I'm not really trying to see these truck driver looking. You know, I'm not saying they're all like that. Please forgive me. There's some pretty WNBA basketball players, but for the most part, it's just not really an exciting sport to watch. So they don't make that much money. That's why they got to go to Russia, where they make more, because they have a name over here, and that kind of translates into more popularity overseas. Oh, you're an American star. Okay, come over here. That's just what it is. So I don't want to hear a word about gender pay gap or nothing like that. This is just them not putting out an exciting product. But as I close, I want to say this. It's unfortunate that she got 9 years in prison. They filed an appeal over there. I'm not sure how that whole process works, because this trial went like lickety split, you know, which is a good thing. People were surprised that they had a speedy trial, but I thought we had a right to that in the U.S., you know, a fair and speedy trial. Whatever happened to that? It's a different story. I digress. The whole point is that the trial went pretty quickly, just as expected. You broke the law over there. You brought in a vape cartridge with weed, hash oil, or whatever. So now what are you going to do? I mean, I think the only recourse would be try to get an appeal, which it probably won't work, or try to do the prisoner swap for a terrorist, which is not really a good deal, in my humble opinion. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this situation? The sentence, the terrorist trade deal, the gender pay gap, whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. It's unfortunate that we have an American over in Russia being locked up for the whole weed thing. But hey, I mean, what are you going to do? You broke the law. You broke the law. Like, Brittney Griner would get arrested for that over here in the States, just like Iman Shumpert got arrested for that same thing over here in the States. Iman Shumpert, an American NBA basketball player, got arrested in Dallas, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, at the airport with weed on him, and he's going to go to jail. For how long, who knows? But you can't just break the laws of a place and then play the victim. I mean, you just can't do it. A mistake or no mistake. What they say over here in the U.S., ignorance is no excuse of the law. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.